It's official then, Cristiano Ronaldo is a Juventus player, and what a player, certainly, when you take a look at his record in the Champions League there again, the top goal scorer for the last 6 campaigns. Who's the winner here, Craig? Who's got the better of the deal?
Ronaldo.
Well, yes.
When he puts his ATM card in. Oh, I say it's
Decline.
Oh.
Decline. What?
Oh, aye. This is handy. We're okay tonight. We're going out tonight. Yeah, I mean, look, it's great for Italian football. It's great for Juventus. It's come at a big cost financially. I don't know if they can crunch the numbers and make it work. Obviously, they think they can, but I think it's a win-win. They get a guy who might have a year or two left in him. This is the way the game's gone. People are not looking to always buy players at 22, 23 for a sell-on. Clearly, that's not the case. And Real Madrid get an unbelievable amount of money for somebody of his age, albeit someone of goal-scoring stats that he's got. It's just absolutely crazy. So I think everyone seems happy here.
Yeah.
He's got what he wants. Juventus have got a star player, one of the best. And Real Madrid can now move in a slightly different direction, and they've got, 100 million or whatever it is.
These are phenomenal.
Yeah.
When you take a look at these numbers, they are extraordinary. No one had predicted he would put in this sort of shift when he made that move from Manchester United, but he just got better, brought goals, and of course, more importantly, silverware to Real Madrid, Ali. But it's Craig right. There is a feeling that it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's a win for Ronaldo and a to be determined for Real Madrid.
Right.
You have the flexibility, and in that sense, it's a win. But it depends on what you do with that flexibility and what players you get for Cristiano Ronaldo. There is value out there, and there are players out there, and so now it depends on what kind of power Real Madrid is able to wield out there and to say, okay, here we are, we're Real Madrid, we're going after you, you are a top guy, let's get that player, whoever those players are. I think they should go after Kane and Hazard. I don't know how realistic those two are together. But it feels that if you were able to do that, then I think it's a win-win at that point. Right now, to me, it's just to be determined for Real Madrid. It's a win in the sense that they have flexibility to do something, to move forward and build for the future.
Juventus, of course, been in the last 2 Champions League finals out of the last 4 years.
Yep.
Does this push them over the line? Do they go, for example, in as favourites now?
I don't think they're going as favourites. They've been missing something. I mean, they've had good strikers in Higuain. They've had Mandzukic before that. They've still got Mandzukic. They've had good strikers. This just takes them to the next level. But they need the right sort of players in wide areas to get crosses into the box, because Ronaldo no longer is someone who's going to run with the ball and pick it up short and run at people and get shots away. He's a box player. Quadrado needs to get crosses in the box. Douglas Costa needs to get crosses into the box, because there's nobody better when the ball comes in the box at finding space or technically being a good finisher.
But at the same time, this is an ageing Juventus squad. And signing Cristiano Ronaldo stretches not only your transfer budget, but what you can afford to pay players weekly. And so that, question where do Juventus go from here in terms of how they continue to build a squad that competes around Cristiano Ronaldo. Juventus have been very good in the transfer market at finding value, whether it's Quadrado or Khedira or Costa. The names can just, but they've never overspent. And this just seems a departure from what they've done.
You don't like it, Shane?
I'm questioning whether this is a signal for what we can expect from Juventus going forward. As much as they spent for Higuain in the past, they've not made that kind of a move. And now it's all about them crunching the numbers, as Craig puts it. How do you continue to keep the squad competitive, not just in Serie A, but in Europe? And again, this is an aging squad.
Do you think this is going to be a disaster?
No, I don't.
Is this where you're leaning, Shane?
No, I'm...
But it's a kind of turn away from what they've been, as Shaq was saying. They've brought in, there's a guy played in the World Cup semi-final tonight. He's going to probably play in the final, Blaise Matuidi. And they got him for, in today's market from PSG, it was pretty much peanuts. Do you know what I mean? So they've manoeuvred their way around the market and they've hedged the bets particularly well. It just seems they've gone completely the other way here. Whether they just want to make a statement,
right?
I don't know.
Well, they've got rid of some of their big wage earners. Some of the aging players. Buffon has now gone. Barzali's retiring. Lichtsteiner's gone as well. So they're changing the squad. And Ronaldo's just the tip of the iceberg. I think they're going to get some more younger players. Emre Can has just gone there. They've already got some young players.
He's the iceberg. He doesn't go there to be the tip of the iceberg. He is the iceberg.
Yeah. So, but they've got young players in the reserves that they've bought ready for these moments when players are retiring.
But this might not just be about Ronaldo's goals. This obviously it's got a commercial aspect as well.
Yep.
But it might, and I think this is the point you're trying to make, Robbo. It might be about selling Juventus even more to the big stars around the world. You know, rather than Pogba leaving to go back to Man United or whatever it is, they can go to some of the top players. If they've got the money and it's available and they've refreshed the squad, they can go and say, hey, come along. We'll be challenging again this year. We'll probably win Serie A. We're going to be in and around the Champions League final. We've got one of the two best players of a generation on board. Come and play with us. It's much easier to get the top players to come if some of the best are already there. And I think that's one of the tactics that Juventus will be trying to use.
If I told you a week ago that Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be a Juventus player, you would just laugh me out of the room. I
think we did.
It's an incredible story, isn't it?
I think we did, and I think most of us, to a man. All the guys that have been on the show, Steve McManaman, who was over as well, Robbo's been over, all the regulars, we all said, you know, this is the Ronaldo story. No matter what Real Madrid were pushing, we hear it every year, sometimes twice a year. It's got to be about money. He wants a little bit more love. He's not in the World Cup now. And that's how it's been painted over the last few years. And generally, out at the end of it is a new contract and a bumper pay rise. And Ronaldo stays and everything's hushed for a while. But clearly that's not been the case. I don't know the exact reason why. But yeah, we all sort of scorned it. But fair play to Juventus. I'm not sure what it's costing them. But it must be a heck of a lot of money.
Well, it's a record transfer for Juventus, and I think when he's been linked to clubs in the past, you could understand PSG, China, Manchester United, maybe even MLS. Juventus was never on the radar whatsoever.
The Serie A is a league that hasn't been able to get the highest paid players and the best players in the world at the moment, but to get Ronaldo to go there, they're obviously finding money from somewhere. But I think what's surprising as well is that Real Madrid are quite happy for him to go. They haven't stood in his way. I mean, Ronaldo wanted to go, but they've not stood in his way. They've allowed the move to go ahead. And I think it's great for Serie A. It's great for Juventus as well.
Do you think they're the big winners out of all of this? Will Real Madrid regret this, or is it kind of everyone?
Well, from a football perspective, Juventus are going to be a better side with, potentially a better side with him in it, even at his age. I mean, financially, I can't answer that question. The big thing for Real Madrid now is we're probably going to, as soon as this World Cup's finished,
it's going to be who?
We're going to be on it. It's like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Who's the Galactico? Is it one? Is it two? Is it Neymar? Is it Mbappe? Is Gareth? I mean, the other side of the coin as well now, it probably means Bale's not going to be going anywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's lots of different factors now that could feed in, but I didn't think it was going to happen.
There's even talk of Benzema going, there's talk of Bale going.
Yeah.
This is a totally rebuilding of Real Madrid under a new manager, Lopetegui.
The right thing to do, though, from Real Madrid's perspective?
I think they were the European champions, but I think they were just slightly on the way, and you saw that in La Liga. There were certain games in the Champions League, particularly when they were at home against Juventus, when they were struggling at one point. They were 3-0 up from the first leg and nearly lost that game. So there was signs that they were starting to get that little bit too old, and that's why I think Lopetegui and the president wants to change everything.
How's Ronaldo going to cope with Italian football overall? Because he's used to Real Madrid winning games easily against inferior opposition.
Well,
and obviously
he's going to do that with Juventus. Juventus have won the title for 7 years on the trot.
But they don't win games by 4-5-0, do they?
Well, that's a mentality of the team that are winning, not the opposition.
Sure.
There's almost a rule in Serie A that once you go 4-0 up, you don't go and get 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
There's games that they're going to win quite comfortably. They're going to be challenged by Napoli. They might be challenged by Roma to a certain degree. Inter are still trying to get back up there, but they're going to win games quite comfortably. And I think he's going to get a lot of service. It all depends whether Douglas Costa is playing at his very best and gets crosses into the box. Cuadrado on the other side. Who's going to play up front with him? Higuain? Does that mean Higuain will be moving? Dybala? What's going to happen to those two players? So he's got to get the balance right, as Allegri. But when I look at Ronaldo now, he's a box player. He needs crosses coming in from wide areas. Douglas Costa, Cuadrado could certainly do that.
Probably Dybala's going to play in that number. Well, somebody will need to play in that role.
Yeah.
Higuain's too slow, and Ronaldo's too old to have Higuain beside him. Personally, I think. So I think there'll be a reshape there. The other side is that it'll be interesting to see if he can replicate the goal scoring stats, because they're phenomenal.
Incredible.
Doing it in Italy, I think, will be difficult because they do think about defending a little bit more. Although that has changed in the last few years.
It's changed massively.
Italian
football is not like that anymore.
No, but they still have that mentality at times with the Italian defending. Although it has opened up, and Italian football took a look at itself a few years ago, and a lot of these teams you met, Napoli, you know, Juve, Napoli, Roma, Lazio, all these teams. I know there's more. They play a more open, attractive football. It has been very pleasing to the eye, Italian football. The one criticism years ago was it was all a bit dull and boring. But the last few years, they've really had a few sides that have played some good stuff. So it'll be a little bit more open now for Ronaldo than it would have been, say, a decade ago. That being said, you know, Juventus will look at his stats and go, wow, they're incredible. The big question is, if they're getting money, if they're getting enough, you know, money for their buck, then he's going to have to replicate that.
But again, you're talking about Higuain. His stats for the last 3 years have been incredible as well.
Sure.
So there's a player, when he was at Napoli, he was scoring goals left, right and centre. He didn't do quite so well last season for Juventus. And Dybala's not somebody who's going to run beyond him. Dybala's a player that's going to play in behind him.
And play instead of try and service him through.
Yeah, so you've got to get somebody that's going to run beyond him at times, and that I'm not quite sure who that will be.
I wonder, you know, and Max Allegri, the coach, I wonder what any statement from him, if indeed we get one, I wonder if this is something that he was happy about.
Yeah. Well, his statement isn't going to say, I'm not happy, is it?
No, I know,
I don't want this.
Well, but what I'm saying is that this with the coach's blessing, or is this without? Because for him, that could be a big concern. Because he's taken over from Conte. He has taken them forward. They keep winning the Scudettos. He's taken them to the Champions League finals, which Conte couldn't do. And he's done it with a little bit of guile, but a lot of team ethic. And they've changed a few things along the way. Changed the back three, gone to a back four at times. He's made a lot of changes. He might have to make a heck of a lot more now that Ronnie's in.
Finally, will this be a success?
Yes, I think it will be. Maybe just for a year or two, but it'll be a success for Juventus, and I think it'll be a success for Serie A.
You agree?
Yeah, big news for Serie A, big plug for them. I think short term it will be, but it's a lot of buck to be spending for short term. If they can get it back through commercial viability, then fair enough. But I think for Italian football, fantastically exciting.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Of course, a lot more reaction to this big news here on ESPNFC.com throughout the day.